Hello. Now, I'm sure some of you have followed my videos about a case where NHS England, the government department responsible for managing hospitals in England, went to court to argue that NHS staff contracts are non-contractual. This is an absurdity, of course. The background to this is a whistleblower who worked in the NHS workforce. He worked in development, and he blew his whistle by letter to the top boss of the NHS that his manager was creating VIP lanes to give public money to his friends. This was money that was meant to improve staff working conditions and mental health. This was money which could have made public access to the NHS a better experience. This was money that could have helped to reduce the number of doctors and nurses leaving the NHS. This is money which results in long waiting times to get an appointment. This happened around 2015. It's around the same time that we've got the chaos of Lucy Letby. Now, the whistleblower, who has not waived his rights to anonymity, complained to a London court that he was threatened by his senior manager that if he complained, he would be put under investigation himself to discredit him, and that he was threatened with career damage and serious harm for speaking up. He spoke up. A key witness confirmed the factual dates in her statement that the whistleblower spoke to her about being on the receiving end of harassment a month before he was suspended himself. This compelling witness was a director in the NHS and was encouraged by the judge in London to ignore the facts in her statement. What has shocked a number of members of the public is how a judge could accept NHS England's lawyers' arguments that NHS staff contracts are not contractual when they were defending this case. How could a judge accept that language, that NHS staff contracts are not contractual? This is a nonsense in English, and therefore prevent the whistleblower from asserting his legal rights to speak up and protect his own livelihood. I know this person. He has suffered hugely since 2015. I want to take this further, and I've spoken to this person, and if you feel that we should stand up with those who have bravely spoken out about threats to if you want to stand with us to help those who've spoken out about things, who've resisted the threats, to speak up, please get in touch. Please let me know, because I'm inviting you to come with us to the Royal Courts of Justice in London to ask the standby courts to fix this outrageous miscarriage of justice, and to hold these NHS managers, these bureaucrats, accountable. So please do get back in touch. I would appreciate as much support as possible, and I would appreciate as much discussion about this as possible, because I think it's an important case. This was something that was picked up by a number of people in the past, and there was some fuss about it a few years ago, but it's largely fizzled out. But the problems still facing the individual in question exist, and he struggles day to day simply to keep going. And it's unreasonable, because his case has been dealt with by the highest people in our country, the highest people in the land, the top of our government has been involved in this, in what seems to be like a huge, a monumental cover-up. And we need to speak out against that. We need, for the sake, not only for his sake, but for the sake of our democracy, which is under such threat at the moment. We need to speak out. I would really appreciate your support. So this is, I'm going to call this part 1. And you've heard me talk about this issue on a few occasions, maybe a little bit more elliptically. And then we will do part 2 later on when we find out what direction we can go. But I think it's about going to London and making a stand, going to the Royal Courts of Justice and visiting the standby courts and seeing what can be done to rescue what seems to me to be an appalling oversight